Hey, before we get started on this week's episode, I just want to take a quick moment to apologize if you're looking at a picture of Ozzy on YouTube right now. Maybe I'm not apologizing because you don't look at my face, but for whatever reason, there's like these weird edits and weird drops, and my voice wasn't syncing to the video that I recorded, even though I used the same device. I don't know what the hell happened this week. But so, not a great, strong outing for the second episode of A Dacetacular Mind this season. Anyway, if you're listening to Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, no difference for you. But if you're on YouTube, no video this week, just a picture of Ozzy, probably a better choice. So, hope you enjoy this week's Dacetacular Mind as I talk about Ozzy Osbourne and his influence on my life. Here you go. Finished with my woman 'cause she couldn't help me with my mind. Today we are talking about Ozzy Osbourne on A Dacetacular Mind. Sorry about being gone for a couple weeks. I know we relaunched the season and then I disappeared for a month. Apologies, work got a little bit hectic. We'll make that A Dacetacular Mind down the road. But I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about Ozzy Osbourne on one of the episodes, just for the fact that he's very influential on my life. And what do I mean by that? If you look back at an episode that I recorded, I think in the first seasons, maybe the second one, was about Weird Al Yankovic and how influential he's been on my life. And to be honest, he is very influential, if not the top guy. Where any remaining glimpses of my goofiness, it comes from him. The only man that I accept puns from, more or less. But he was the first concert I went to. Now, as a total shock and twist, the second concert I ever went to was Ozfest. Now you're thinking, okay, so you see people in concert and all of a sudden that's what influences you? Kind of. And the point being, it's how many times I see them in concert. There are people I've seen in concert, one and done, moved along. Seen Lady Gaga, bucket list. Saw Van Halen, bucket list. Saw the Foo Fighters, bucket list. Not influential, but it was cool to see them, and I get to check them off. And there are many, many other bands that I can add to that list. Ozzy Osbourne, like Weird Al Yankovic, is a repeat concert going event for myself. Top 5 for sure. Probably coming in at number 4. Number 1 obviously being Weird Al. Anytime he's in the area, I make sure to get tickets, and I could pretty much do his set verbatim now. Number 2 would be The Offspring. Anytime they're in town, I try to get tickets. I know I got tickets to the last one. It's 100 degrees. Was not sitting out there, and he wouldn't have done that for Weird Al either. Number 3, kind of snuck in there, Shinedown. And that's because I go to a lot of music festivals, and by that I mean I go to the MM Barbecue, and by that I mean they headline the MM Barbecue a lot. So they happen to be there. But number 4 is Ozzy. Ozzy, I've gone to several Ozfests until that was no more, and then I went to every one of his farewell tours in America. I've seen him multiple times. He comes in 4th because the first 2 times I did not see him. The first time he got sick, and then the lead singer of Judas Priest came out and did his set, which was phenomenal. But I mean, you're there to listen to Ozzy do Black Sabbath. Instead, you got the guy from Judas Priest doing Black Sabbath, and again, phenomenal. But just you were expecting Ozzy. Second year, he was there, but just physically, he didn't really perform very well with his songs. Deduce from that what you will about his state of mind, but Zakk Wylde, who was playing the guitar in his band, ended up singing all of the songs. I think he's from Black Label Society. So that's probably why he falls about 4th on the list of frequent viewings. And Shinedown, again, just sneaks their way on there because they're just everywhere. Anytime I go to see somebody, all of a sudden Shinedown's either the opener or the headliner. Doesn't make any damn sense. But the reason Ozzy's so influential is because I'm also a big wrestling fan. And Ozzy, too, has been very intertwined into the wrestling industry. Now, the thing WWE will always tell you, and has always told you since the dawn of time, is don't try this at home. So naturally, as a kid, when you're trying this at home, one of the first things you do is pick your theme music. Now, a buddy of mine chose Mr. Crowley, and yours truly chose Crazy Train. So Right there, boom. Ozzy songs off the bat. When I would go on to actually get trained in how to do uh, wrestling, there comes a crossroads of when would you pick for your music if you went out there. We didn't use music where we trained. We kept it old school. It was called Old Time Wrestling. I'm pretty sure I did an episode about that. You can go back and check that out. Great trainers, great experience. Loved every minute of it. My body did not, and that's ultimately why I had to stop. Again, did a whole episode on that. You can go back in the archives and listen to it. But had I had the opportunity to use the music to go out, it would have been Paranoid. Also a Nazi tune. Also the tune I used to start this episode with my awful rendition. The other thing that happens in wrestling, though, is you typically try to find like a cover. Um, Helps you a little bit more with the legal rights and stuff like that, and like not getting tied up by the big producers and those who own the rights to the songs. So there was a cover band that did both Crazy Train and Paranoid, called Mystic Prophecy, and those were the two that I would use. Plus, I think they're instrumentals, and this is just because you got to think we have HD music now versus vinyl or raw recordings on some tapes that just tapes don't age well. It hit harder, so it sounded better. So like Crazy Train has a kind of a slow opening with Ozzy's version, but this one with Mystic Prophecy was like dan 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 da 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 da, like really fast and really hard, which is pretty cool for wrestling because you want to get the crowd pumped. But at the core, it's Ozzy. Now, another reason why Ozzy was so influential is because if you live in the Philadelphia region and you like rock and roll, or your parents like rock and roll, which is a good probability since they grew up during that like boom that Ozzy's from, um, MMR is a station. We could probably do a whole Dacetacular Mind to that because like MMR is over 50 years old, so it's been around longer than me. Preston and Steve, their morning show, has been on since I was in high school. I think they just celebrated 25 years. I've been out of high school for 20. Pierre Robert's been on the air for I think all 50 years. Like he's been around and he's a staple. If you're from the area, you know who Pierre Robert is, even though he's from like San Francisco. And just like it's just a cornerstone of the Philadelphia region in rock and roll. They play Ozzy nonstop. Like you're either getting the Black Sabbath catalog with Iron Man and War Pigs, or you're getting his half of the archive, which is Dreamer, No More Tears, Crazy Train, etc. He's got such a long and deep catalog. Like he was still cranking out music in the 2020s that was really good, and found a way to integrate into pop by doing it with people like Post Malone. I have a couple songs on my playlist from that he did with Post Malone, like Under the Graveyard.
Relax and sing along from Christmas.
Oh goddamn! I didn't even say anything remotely close to the call word that would set that damn thing off. I don't care. Not editing it. If you heard a audio gap, I apologize. Stupid device on my desk decided to go nuts. If you're watching this on YouTube, you saw me hit the mute button quickly and then fight with the damn device on my screen. So we're rolling it. One take Dace. We'll do a Dacetacular Mind on that I don't like to do multiple takes because I fucking hate editing. Anyway, MMR was a staple. Ozzy has a long and deep catalog, which is just nonstop hit after hit after hit. There we go. Just so that doesn't fucking listen again. It's just he is so intertwined into my musical taste that if you put on one of my playlists for a bit, you would probably like even for like 30 minutes you would get an Ozzy song because that's just how many there are. There's Iron Man, which intertwines with the comic. Like one of the most infamous moments in the MCU is Tony Stark at the end of 2008's Iron Man going, "I am Iron Man," and then it just runs into that riff of and boom, you're off to the races in the MCU. Like I said earlier, he's very intertwined into wrestling, and I'm a big wrestling fan. He's in the WWE Hall of Fame. He's done multiple guest appearances on WWE, and his music was often used for like pay-per-views and stuff like that for promotional materials for WWE. So like a lot of that stuff, it's hard. It's good. It's just good pump up music. And then there's the whole pop culture aspect of him. Um, when I was younger and I didn't have this prepubescent beard that I rock, there would be times that people like, "Oh, you look like Ozzy," like with my hair when I have my hair down and it's wet and not like Weird Al level. Ozzy was one that I would get compared to. I had for the longest time. I mean, often if you watch any of our shows or podcasts or whatever, you see that I wear a hat all the time. Most of the time, there was nonstop in high school. I had a hat that I stole from a friend that said Ozzy, the same guy who went out to Mr. Crowley's music when we backyard wrestled. Um, and I wore that hat into the ground, like really, like just wore it nonstop to the point where like it was black when it started and then it faded to like this weird, ugly, dirty brown color. Um, he's just, it's hard to find the words to explain how influential an individual that you never meet is because they're a part of your everyday life. They don't know who you are, which is sounds bleak, but they don't know who you are, but they put out this content that will live forever. He passed away at the beginning of August. Here I am, beginning of September, still talking about it. And it was important enough that once I start, like, I could have just skipped the episode, moved into what I was going to talk about this week, according to my schedule that I have played out. But no, I wanted to make sure to do this episode because it's weird. He's gone, but he's not, right? He you turn on the Spotify, one of his songs will come up. One of the covers that I have in my playlist will come up. Some influence that he has had will come up on my playlist. It's the same way with Tom Petty. One of my biggest regrets when it comes to seeing people in concert is Tom Petty. Um, Anytime he was in town, I happened to be out of town for work. And then the one time, like, I think the one time I missed him, like the last time I missed him, it was like, no, next time he's here, I don't care what it costs. I'm going to see him. I love damn near his entire catalog. I need to see him in concert. And then he passed away. I am lucky enough to say that I've seen Ozzy at least 10 to 12 times. And I have a deep uh, playlist of his catalog. And I have the experiences of the concerts I went to. Ozfest, in and of itself, is, if you didn't get a chance to go to Ozfest, it's a shame. Because that wasn't, it's a weird, stinky, because I don't like the smell of weed. You see a lot of boobs, or used to. It was a weird environment, like because the Buffett say they like parrot heads were like their own thing. This was its own thing. Like it's 90 degrees out, and there are people walking around in all black like heavy ass duty pants, long sleeve black fishnet, like all they walk around in a t-shirt and shorts. You're not gonna change the way I dress for music. But there are people who are about it and did it, and like it's middle of August, balls, walking around like holy shit. It was a movement, a phenomenon. He by being a fan of his, it unlocked me seeing bands that I would never have went and saw on my own. At the end of the day, artists, both musically inclined and actors and just media you consume influences you. You don't believe me? Just look out the window or turn on the news because clearly people are susceptible to it. Um, But with great artists come great influences. Everybody remembers the first song they heard. Everybody remembers the first show they've seen, the first concert they went to, the firsts stick out. And even though Weird Al was my first concert, probably the heaviest influence, like I have all his albums. That's what was gifted to me too as a child. Like I went all in on Al. There are, for a brain, my brain, that does not retain a lot of memories. They're there. They're just, it takes a little bit to unlock them. Not saying I have any disease or anything like that, but you ask me about things that happened 5 years ago, let alone 25 years ago. It's very hard to remember for them until somebody gets me going or I get going on, like through pictures or something like that. But songs trigger it a lot quicker, right? The fact that you take WMMR, which I vividly remember that anytime a radio was on, MMR was on, John DeBella, Pierre Robert, the Philly guys, Preston Steve, Jackson, Randy Kotz, Matt Cord, the Zoo, like whatever it may be. I can remember things around that radio and what were happening when the radio was playing. So Weird Al being very influential on me, he's not really on the radio a lot, right? Like unless you somehow got Dr. Demento before the internet was a thing. With MMR though, Ozzy was on there a lot. Ozzy would be playing a lot. There's vivid memories of Guns N' Roses playing. There's vivid memories of Van Halen playing because the song can move individuals, and the song playing is usually playing because something's going on. I want to turn on some music. I want to get some work done. You remember, you cruise better. I'm going to turn on some music. We're going to have a party. Maybe you remember the song you danced to. You remember your first wedding song, things like that. There was a distinct soundtrack to my childhood, not controlled by me. And the Prince of Darkness was a headliner of it, meaning multiple entries. You probably go with him, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, maybe Offspring, Green Day, and then everybody else I lumped into the Alice in Chains box until I got older and realized there were more artists than just five. And Tom Petty. I remember driving down to the campground and these songs being played. The MMR, which is actively happening as I'm recording this, the back to school A to Z weekend that they've done for decades upon decades. Ozzy dominates a lot of parts in there, if not covers of Ozzy songs. But just those songs stick out, and ultimately they trigger memories. I remember the backyard wrestling stuff because my opponent would come out to Mr. Crowley. I remember waiting to come out to Crazy Train. It's tough because now you know that there's not going to be anything new. Yeah, the new slowed down a bit, but there was still new coming out, and there was still, you see them. It's weird. We've had these conversations before, my friends and I, and just probably if you listen to this, we've talked before about it. We're in a era where a lot of the people we grew up with watching on media are hitting the age of where they're going to pass away or have passed away. Some big names that are just like were rough because I was a big fan of them. Robin Williams, Aladdin is a cornerstone, and Genie for the Genie is the reason that Aladdin's my favorite Disney movie, and it's because of Robin Williams. Norm Macdonald, I think I own every special he's ever done. I have his TV show. Like anytime Norm was on, he's my hands down favorite Weekend Update anchor. Like to hear that he had passed was awkward, and like, huh, you don't know these people like personally, but they're still a big part of your life because you follow what they do, you listen to what they do, and it just sucks, right? I mean, general death sucks, but there's every once in a while there's a few that leave a mark on you. Robin Williams, Norm Macdonald, Ozzy Osbourne, uh, a controversial pick who passed away shortly after Ozzy, Hulk Hogan. As a big Roddy Piper fan, not so much Hulk Hogan, but you don't have wrestling the way it is today without Hulk Hogan. So everybody's a little bit of a Hulk Hogan fan. We've all done the hand twist to the ear. We've all said, brother. He's iconic. And it's just weird he's not here anymore. Granted, he said a lot of bullshit towards the end of his run, but just weird that like you're not going to hear Real American again. Oddly enough, the Rick Derringer, who wrote Real American, passed away months before Hogan. Like it's weird that key pieces of your life that you like now being 36, key things that appeared in your life multiple times. Ozzy songs, Hulk Hogan, like he was at a lot of wrestling events. Norm Macdonald, anytime he showed up on something, I made sure I saw it. Robin Williams, anytime he did something, I made sure I saw it. It's just where you're not going to get any more of that. And granted, there's always a new thing coming from behind, but there was always this thing back here that you remember. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this tribute to Ozzy. I think another thing I wanted to do, and excuse me for looking at my phone, but I wanted to go and list my top songs that I really enjoyed from Ozzy Osbourne. So we're gonna do a D list. I don't have intro for it. My favorite song of all time is probably Crazy Train, followed closely by Paranoid, then Dreamer. Big fan of No More Tears, Mama, I'm Coming Home. I absolutely loved Ordinary Man. Never thought we would get a collaboration between Elton John and Ozzy Osbourne, but so good. Such a good song. Love War Pigs, Bark at the Moon, Shot in the Dark, Flying High Again, See You on the Other Side. Just so many. And I would think those are kind of the top tier. I like Goodbye to Romance. I love Under the Graveyard. It's one of the newer ones he did. Patient Number 9 I thought was really good that he did with Jeff Beck. Over the Mountain's really good. Close My Eyes Forever. And then like it was covered by Hailstorm and the lead singer of Disturbed, which was also good. Like that's a really good song. So, God, I'm just going through the list. And I'm just like, I would be stuck here for hours just going through this, listening to all these again. And there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't like put at the top of my list. I think the ones that I named are definitely ones that I listen to over and over again. But if I put on Ozzy Osbourne radio and just let it run, I don't skip. But yeah, Ozzy, man. I paid for the concert, obviously. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see that I'm in the T-shirt of the Back to the Beginning. And I ended up sitting through the whole thing, and I'm glad I did, because there will never be another Ozzy Osbourne. There will never be another Prince of Darkness. And there's just like, again, damn, sucks. He's gone. We probably got a lot more years out of him than anyone expected. Probably him himself. But it's just It's one of those cultural icons that are going to leave a hole because there won't be anyone like him again. There won't be a Ozfest ever again. There won't be the Osbournes ever again. And I'm glad that I got to be a part of, got to see it. I got to witness the history. I get to hear his music. I get to share the music with my kids who love Iron Man, the hero, and now love the song Iron Man. It's cool moments like that. Just like the full circle moment I told you at the beginning of the episode with Weird Al. My first concert, now the kids' first concert. So cool for full circle. But that's going to do it for us this week on the Dacetacular Mind. I've been Chris the Dace Man, Dace. Next week will be the Four Reel Movie Club. But the week after when we return, Four Reel Conversations. The week after we return, I'm going to talk about how the Game-a-thon came back. Yeah, we did an 11th one in 2025, and we're prepping for the 12th one in 2026. Can't keep it down. Can't keep it down. Check out everything's going on. There's a stream Monday night, Minecraft. Thursday night with a Dace Man, 14. That's me. And I believe next week we'll be kicking off Borderlands 4 with myself, Jarrett, Frank Ward, and Tim Clark, or Tim in the North. And we'll start dropping retro plays. The four of us who are going to be playing Borderlands 4 went through and played 1 and 2. I'm going to break that down, ship it out to you. Nice little package. Check out what we did for your viewing pleasure. We also have got weekly protocol every Thursday. Just dropped the camping protocol yesterday. Revamped it a little bit, bringing back a little bit of that Dace Man show vibes, along with what we brought to the table with the weekly protocol. New set of hosts, new segments, whole 9 yards. Jersey Fanatics every Wednesday with myself, Eric Barrezo, and occasionally Tyler Freed, and much, much more to come. Basement Protocol is firing all cylinders, so let's get it out there. Thank you for taking this trip with me on a Dacetacular Mind. I hope I unlocked it a little bit for you. I know these episodes are typically shorter. They will have no time restraints. I'm not going to stretch it to an hour. I'm not going to shortchange you at 15 minutes. We're going to get it done. So for the few, for the proud, and for the Dacetacular, thank you guys for tuning in this week. And remember, Basement Dwellers, stick to the protocol. We'll see you next time.